town where the grickle grass grows is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see where the Lorax once stood. What was the Lorax? And why was it there? The old onceler still lives here. Ask him, he knows. He lurks in his lurkum, cold under the roof. And on special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of his shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was taken away. He'll tell you, perhaps. Now, I'll tell you how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. My sister and I are 1 year apart. She's older, so she would pull the red wagon and I would ride. She would seek and I would hide. That's how it was. And once, when we were still pretty little, she asked her grandfather for a secret code so that she and I could share the intimacy of these twins we'd seen on television, who spoke to each other in their own secret language. And so our grandpa taught us op talk. I work sometimes at a high school for deaf kids. We put on poetry readings and poetry slams. We call them deaf poetry jams. One poet's poem goes, I, me, my. Doesn't anyone tell a story anymore? And another poet's poem goes, last night I dreamt I was little back then and I could hear again. But the silence in my house was deafening. Our voices are the most powerful instrument that we have. When we say that one has found their voice, what we mean is that they have found their heart, their courage. In the poems The Lorax by Dr. Seuss, Op Talk by Reeves, and Sign Language by Reeves, these poets speak on behalf of the voiceless, give voice to their inner lives, and literally create new voices when none existed before. Voice, a program. It all started way back, such a long time ago. Way back in the days when the grass was still green and the pond was still wet. One morning, I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees. I felt a great leaping joy in my heart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with wet chalk. The instant I finished, I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was a sort of man. Describe him? Well, he was oldish and shortish and mossy, and he spoke in a voice that was quite sharpish and bossy. Mister, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues. And I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs, what's that thing you made out of my truffula tuft? Look, Lorax, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I am doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. Sir, you're crazy with greed. There is no one on earth that would buy that fool thneed. But just at that moment, I proved him wrong. For just at that moment, a chap came along and he thought the thneed I had knitted was great. You poor stupid guy, you never can tell what some people will buy. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy. Shut up, if you please. It's this trick where you slip the sound op into every syllable of a word. So word becomes whoppered, stage is stoppage, people are popey bopple. And we loved it. Op talk. And our kingdom was a mid-sized suburban backyard in the living room, where on the weekends the carpet would turn into lava. The cat, Coppa, the dog, Dop-Bob. And if you didn't say it right, you would boil in the molten lava. See, some of the kids only write about being deaf. Some make a joke, some make a mention, others ignore the topic altogether. So you get a goofy haiku like, I saw on TV that scientists have taught gorillas how to speak sign language. Outstanding! Why don't they teach the gorilla to wipe its ass, assholes? And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole family was working at full tilt. We were all knitting thneed to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. But the next week, the Lorax knocked on my new office door. I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. I meant no harm, but I had to grow bigger. So bigger I got. I biggered my factory. I biggered the loads of meats I shipped out. And so the grown-ups thought we were out of our freaking minds. And the neighborhood children were mystified. And my sister sat next to me on my 10th birthday singing softly, "Hoppy bopper dobber dobby hophead," which means happy birthday, dear butthead. And that sounded as nice as icing on a cake. My sister and I needed each other like magnets, because that's when our folks split up. And our dad remarried right away, so we got a brand new mom. And she was kind of a boppage. And there are other problems that only going away to college could solve. And the words, the signs themselves are as wonderful for me to watch as if they were hummingbirds or butterflies. Words like goosebumps, daydream, giraffe, sticky, icky, icky. These are high school students who never talk behind your back, they just sign behind your back. And they pester me to the lyrics of hip-hop songs, which they prefer because they can feel the music throbbing through the speakers of the stereo. Then again, he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back. Hi! And the Lorax! He coughed and he whiffed. Once-slur! You're making such smogulous smog! No one can escape from the smog you've smogged up around here. Your machine chugs on day and night without stop. You dirty old Wetzler man, you! And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, "Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap, yap, yap and say bad, bad, bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to keep doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm biggering, and biggering, and biggering, turning more and more truffula trees into thnees." But just at that moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall. The very last truffula tree of them all. And that's when I'd get answering machines. Messages like, "Hey, stop it, whopper, hopper, hophead. Stay warm, butthead. And drop an hopper, 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 hop. Don't get gonorrhea." And my roommates would ask, "What the hell is that?" And I would say what every American family seems to like to say, "Well, my family is part Cherokee." But I will say that she and I don't talk much anymore. I'm not sure why. Maybe your husband got drunk one night and accidentally ate part of our relationship. Every month there are little poetry slams where the audience never spreads out. It spreads back so that everyone can hear these hands. And it's damn near silent. And there is never a microphone. But sometimes the poets do rock their poems. No more trees. The Lorax did nothing, just gave me a very sad, backwards glance. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word: unless. That was a long, long time ago. But each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. But now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. So, catch. It's a truffula seed. It's the last of them all. Plant a new truffula. Treat it with care. Give it clean water. Protect it from axes that hack. Then, the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. But I'm lucky, I guess. I still have the number of the very first person I ever adored. So when I call her up and try to make her laugh so hard that she forgets about the mortgage, the weight gain, and the other silly symptoms of us not being children anymore. When I tell her simple, sentimental things like, "Hey, op I lop of yop you," I know that this woman is going to speak my language. And when a deaf poet rocks a poem, it echoes off the walls for these ears alone like, "Move on. I was born as deaf and as quiet as a starfish. But if I had been born a man, I would pray to the Lord above every night at the top of my lungs and thank him for giving me